Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Y'all, I'm trying to make sure I'm live on all my platforms. Come on in. It's the end of the week. Y'all, what are y'all tapping in from? What city? What state? Today we're going to talk about how everyone gets a green card. Good marriage, bad marriage, in between marriage, whatever. Because you know what? The way your spouse chooses to treat you should not determine whether or not you get to live in this country and have your freedom and your liberty and your maintain your dignity, because real talk, they don't have that much power. So good morning, I am Kiki Gilman, your fierce and fabulous immigration attorney. I'm giving y'all zebra prints today. That's right, zebra prints was feeling a little funky this morning. Good morning, Abim, good morning. So good morning, TikTok. I don't even know who's over here. That's like a newish. I finally hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, so they allowed me to go live. I guess they trust me. We're over here on Facebook and YouTube, but y'all know my Instagram crew, y'all are so loyal. I give y'all all the attention. So we're gonna talk about the green cards and your right to still have a life in this country, even though your spouse thinks that they can control you, manipulate you, threaten you with deportation, seize your documents, lie about you, disparage your character on social media, and make you feel like you don't deserve anything. So, we are talking about the VAWA, the Violence Against Women Act green card. And also, if you happen to have a marriage that's going great, adjusting your status that route. That's what I did. So, typically, when you marry a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you're able to adjust your status in the United States. So, let me talk a little bit about with the green card holder, because sometimes people get confused. Hey, folks on TikTok, come on in. We're talking about marriage green cards, the good way and the bad way. Um, if you're married to a green card holder, you can only adjust your status if you are in current legal status at the time that you apply for your green card. So, for example, if you entered as a student or as a visitor, at the time USCIS receives that I-130, I-35, your visa has to still be current. If you've been out of status, they can still file the I-130. However, you would have to leave the United States to go to your home country to consular process. Hopefully, you have not been in the US for more than 6 months or more than 1 year. Otherwise, you trigger something called a 3-year or a 10-year bar. Just to kind of put that out there, because I get a lot of people that come to me and they say, oh, I'm married to a green card holder. I need to adjust my status. And I'm like, wait a minute. How did you get here? What's your status? How long you been here? Are you out of status? And once I run through that, I tell them, okay, sure, we can go ahead and we can adjust your status. Otherwise, you have to leave the country. So that is that. Of course, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, it doesn't matter if you're out of status, as long as you enter the United States with inspection. So if you're married and your marriage is going good, you can file, everything goes well. If your marriage starts to fall apart, when I say fall apart, I'm talking your spouse is using their ability to file for you as a means to control you. I have seen it all, you guys. I've been an immigration attorney for 12 years. I know it's hard to tell, right? I know, I get it. It's hard to tell, but look, I've been in this game a long time. I've seen a lot of cases. I've seen a lot of fact patterns. There's some spouses who they don't even say anything. They just their silence speaks volumes in the way they are able to control and manipulate you, right? They don't say anything, just one look, and you're like terrified. So let me talk about some forms of abuse that you may not realize are forms of abuse. If someone is making you feel bad about not making them feel good, I don't know, does that even make any sense? Like, oh, you don't even care about me. You don't ask me how I'm doing. You don't care about my future. You don't do this. I mean, it's not your problem to make them their happiness is not dependent on you. Like everyone has to have self responsibility for their lives. And so if they're trying to kind of like gaslight you, particularly when they know that they've been you know disrespectful, or they have been they're treating you poorly, or they know that the process which they're helping you through is something that is so important to you that they are able to continuously control you, you can petition for VAWA on your own. And VAWA allows you to file your own green card without your spouse knowing, without their control, without their power, so you can get your green card on your own. You can get a work permit, get your social security number, get your travel document, and really start to, chart your life on your own terms. Okay, I'm getting some questions. But please, are you talking about cancellation of VAWA? No, I'm not talking about cancellation, VAWA cancellation. VAWA cancellation is actually an option for a lot of people who maybe have divorced. One, you're divorced and you're more than 2 years, or you are in removal and VAWA is your option out. So yeah, VAWA cancellation is something that we also do, but to qualify for VAWA cancellation, you have to be in removal proceedings. So that's how that works. I hope that answered your question. There's another question here. Someone said, I think I missed it. Someone said I just received my second VAWA renewal. Okay. Well, VAWAs are not renewed. What do you mean your VAWA renewal? Because you can't really renew. VAWA stays once it's been approved, it stays. You don't have to renew it. It just stays. You mean like your work permit or your PD? Not PD. Your prima facie determination. So guys, do know that you have a way out. You don't have to be stuck in your marriage. Your spouse does not have to be physically abusive. Oh, prima facie. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they renew it once it starts to expire. And with a prima facie determination, let me just explain to everyone who's watching, if you don't know what that is. When you file a VAWA case, the officer will do what I call a cursory overview. Do you have any questions on TikTok? Yeah, I'm trying to manage all these platforms. No, we don't. Okay. All right. Prima facie determination means the officer that's been assigned your case has taken a look, right? Like a cursory overview. And they're like, okay, you meet all the boxes. You're married to a U.S. citizen green card holder. You live together. You've shown that you have, bona fide relationship. You have good moral character. You're in the United States. That's just a cursory overview. It doesn't mean your case is going to be approved. I get a lot of people that come to me and say, oh, I got a prima facie, I'm going to get approved. No, you're not. Because you know what happens? The officer has to go in and do a deeper dive and ensure that you really reach that level of evidentiary proof, right? So in my office, typically when we get a prima facie, we're going to get an approval, because when I put my cases together, they're solid. I mean, we're talking like 130 pages, because not only we make sure we have a thorough, okay, so we got a question on TikTok. Hold on. So marrying a green card holder gets you papers too? It depends. Yes, it depends. Depends on what your status is in the United States, how you entered. And so certainly let's do a consultation. Person on TikTok who's asking a question. That's my first question on TikTok. I'm sorry, I'm excited. So let's do a consultation, because if you're currently here out of status, then you won't be able to adjust in the United States. You may have to leave and go to your home country. Depending on how long you've been out of status, you may need a waiver. So that's definitely a consultation question. Okay. So when we submit our cases, they're very solid, they're very thorough. I actually do a brief, which a lot of attorneys don't do. Frankly, I don't know why. My thing is come out the gate swinging, right? I'm just going to lay out all the elements, the statutory elements, and show you, officer, how my client meets all these elements. So don't come running me no BS RFE or no BS notice of intent to deny, because I've already laid it out there for you. And sending me that is only going to just waste my time, waste my client's time, and waste your governmental resources, which you don't have that many of, right? So don't send me an RFE or don't send me annoyed, because I've already laid out and I've submitted the evidence. Here's another reason why a lot of our cases get denied. Let's talk about this. Typically in an abusive relationship where the power dynamic is a little shifted, the abused immigrant, my clients mostly, don't have access to anything, right? So they're not on the joint bank accounts. They're not on the credit cards. They're not on the lease, right? A lot of times they're not on the lease because maybe their spouse is fiscally irresponsible and they can't even lease an apartment of their own. So now they're living with a friend or family member, or the apartment is in someone else's name, which is fine. Look, people go through things, but my point is there's a pattern. Abusers tend to have other issues like fiscal irresponsibility, not able to keep up their with their financial obligations, credit issues. So now my clients are not on a they're not on any lease. They don't have access to anything. So a lot of times when we submit these cases, USCIS wants to come back and say, you haven't shown that you had commingling assets. You haven't shown that you lived in an apartment and you bought furniture. Your bank account does not reflect that you went out to dinners and date nights. Yeah, they don't, because this is not a normal relationship. This is one where the power dynamic is shifted. So yes, they're not on the bank statements because they told them that they weren't going to put them on there. They didn't want them having access to financials. No, they're not on the credit cards because they told them they weren't going to put them on the credit cards. No, they're not on the lease because they don't even have an apartment of their own. Or the spouse told my client that you can't be on the lease. This is directly tied to the abuse. So yes, we don't have it. And we're not going to get it. It doesn't exist. Guys, I've literally said that in responses. Like, don't expect a joint assets. We ain't got it. It doesn't exist. We've never had it. So no, because this is directly tied to the control, manipulation, abuse, and power control, all that. All right. This is what we're talking about. As a matter of fact, in my briefs, at the very outset, I say, as Congress clearly stated, victims of domestic violence are in a very vulnerable situation and precarious situation. So they are not going to have your traditional forms of evidence. Like, I always use me as an example. You guys know I got my green card through my husband. I was an F1 student. I was in law school. I met him. He was a U.S. citizen and he was fine. So he filed for me. We got married. He filed. Look, 10 years later, we got 3 kids. It's all good. When we filed, we had things together, right? Because, we were good. So, I was in his credit cards. I was in his bank account. We had an apartment, a tiny little apartment together. We were both on the lease. We had photos. We had traveled. It was all good. Had I been in a marriage, a situation where my spouse was abusive and they were telling me, no, you can't be on the bank account. I'm not going to add you to the credit card. You don't have this. You can't do this. No, you can't be on the lease, blah, blah, blah. Then, I would have had to file a VAWA petition. Matter of fact, back then I didn't even know one existed. So luckily my husband's a good person and things have worked out. But, back then, this was in 2009. I wasn't even a licensed attorney yet. So, I wouldn't have known what to do had my husband turned out to be a horrible person who was abusing me. So do know that. That's why I come on here and I share this information and I do it in a very conversational manner, but this is real life. Okay, guys, I'm not on here to run my mouth. I already did. What are your questions? What are your questions? A lot of people qualify for a VAWA, but they don't know. A lot of people also qualify for a T visa and they don't know. So if you're in a relationship and you're not married, but your spouse is kind of has you in some sort of servitude situation where they got you cleaning, cooking, just really taking advantage of you in a domestic setting, and what the reason why you stay in that relationship is because you are scared. They're using threats and coercion and fraud to keep you in there. You could qualify for a T visa. A T visa is a non-immigrant visa, but it would allow you to be in the United States and work for 4 years, and then you can file for a green card as long as you've been in the US. So that's that. Another visa that so many people do not know about, and I think it's so important to talk about, is the U visa. And let me tell you a story of a client. We just filed her U visa. She was from Liberia. She had filed asylum because everyone files for asylum. That didn't work. Then she filed for the Liberian green card. That did not work. So the way I lawyer, when you come to me, I run through all the things, all the areas that I practice, and to see if you qualify. And we ran through everything. I'm like, okay, finally. I was like, have you been a victim of a crime? Has anyone ever attacked you? So I was on the phone with her and her niece. Her niece is handling everything. And she goes, no. And her niece goes, no, auntie, yes, you have. Remember when 10 years ago in New Jersey, when you got off the bus and somebody hit you upside your head, snatched your purse, and you were bleeding? And she was like, oh, yeah. And so the niece was like, Kiki, we need to talk. I'm going to have to, really sit down with my aunt and talk about this. And anyway, now we filed her U visa application and we're going to get that in. At least she has that relief. Okay, there's a question here on Instagram. My second prima facie has been approved, but I am on removal proceedings. Yeah, so that's, yeah, sure. I don't know if you have an attorney, but typically what I do is when my clients are in removal proceedings, I ask for prosecutorial discretion and see if they would either close, administratively close proceedings or terminate proceedings. And then we go straight to USCIS and we file that I-485 and that green card. So it sounds like Olo Roche 1015, we need to do a consultation so I can see what's going on. If you're in removal proceedings, why has a prosecutorial discretion request not been filed for you to take you out of removal proceedings, particularly if you have a solid VAWA case pending? So again, I don't know if you have a lawyer. I don't know who filed for you. So that is something that we may have to do a consultation for. Go to the bio. There's a link that you can click on, and we can certainly chat some more. Again, guys, let me tell you something. Ultimately, if you're in the United States and you are suffering any form of, human rights violation, either by a spouse, by an employer. So with a T visa, it's labor or sexual trafficking. So let me give you an example of labor trafficking. I get a lot of clients who work at like fast food restaurants or like hotels, or even they work for the home health care, right? So they're doing like the live-ins and they're doing assisted care work. If your employer, so you're out of status, and if your employer is forcing you to work crazy hours, I'm talking like 12 hours a day, and they're not paying you. So they're not even paying you. What minimum wage is 15 an hour, and they're paying you like, I don't know, 6, 5, 7. You're undocumented, right? So who are you going to report to? And the reason why you stay in the job, because you can leave, but the reason why you stay is because they've coerced you fraudulently with threats. Oh, if you leave, I'm calling immigration. If you leave, I'm telling them you don't have papers. Or they even seize your documents. You could qualify for a T visa. What a T visa would do is it would give you temporary status in the United States to protect you. And then obviously you have to show that you've suffered harm. So not only are they mistreating you, but now you've suffered harm. As a result of this mistreatment, we do psych evals, we do declarations, all that. It would allow you to stay in the United States and then eventually get your green card. Okay, y'all, we got a question on TikTok. All right, how long does it take for my status, if my status is active and all things in order? How long does what take? What take? I'm not sure. How long does what take? Coach 8 on TikTok. I'm not sure what you're asking. How long does it take if your status is active and all things are in order? Okay, explain that a little bit more. So, and guys, let me talk a little bit about, so again, the topic of today is green cards for good and bad marriages. So I'm in a program right now where they ask us, say what you do in like a short sentence, right? And I was like, really what I do is I get green cards for immigrants in good or bad marriages. Like, that's really what I do. Okay, I do naturalization, I do all that stuff, but my heart and the core of what I do, and where I've spent a lot of my time and built my practice, is really getting green cards for immigrants in good marriages, immigrants in bad marriages. That's what I do. That is what I do. So I always like I have some really, really cute couples, y'all. Y'all should see, my couples are like model status. They are good looking. All of them are good looking. I have some really cute couples. And that's fine. That's like, the good marriages, things are going well. That's fine. I also have my survivors, my immigrant survivors of abuse, who are just as deserving, if not more, of protection and representation and, fierce and zealous, representation, and an attorney who's going to fight for them. And I do that also. And I do both with the same passion, with the same heart, with the same fierce, with the same fire. Okay, we got a question. To get paid, how long does it take if my son doesn't have to get papers? Let's do a consultation. I'm not sure. It depends on how you're getting your papers. Are you married to a U.S. citizen? Is it a VAWA? Let's do a consultation. My phone number is on my link in my bio on TikTok. Go ahead and give me a call. Let's chat. Okay, so if you're an F1 student in Canada, Do you need U.S. visa if comes to US? Oh, I don't do any Canadian law. I don't do any Canadian law, immigration, sorry. So I won't be able to answer the question as far as how to enter the United States from. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me go back. If you're not, do you need a visa if you're coming to the US by land? Oh, you're an F1. You have an F1 visa in the United States and you're entering. Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. First of all, do not, if you're leaving the United States and you're an F1, and I can speak on this because I was an F1, you cannot enter the US without a visa stamp. So make sure you have that. Yeah, you need your visa stamp. Okay, how long does it take? How long do one's parents with green card have to be lawfully present before they're in the 5 years? 5 years. If you have a parent that has a green card and they want to file for naturalization, 5 years. The only time you can get your green card in 3 years if you're married to a United States citizen. Okay, another question on TikTok. That's if married to a green card holder or a US citizen. Yeah. So if you're married to a green card holder, you can get your green card in the United States if you're in current legal status right now. So you're F1, you came here or whatever, maybe you're an H1B, you're in current legal status. You can get your green card in the United States. If you're married to a US citizen, you could have been out of status for as long as, I don't know, 5 years, 3 months, 10 years. As long as you entered legally, we can adjust your status in the United States. Okay, Oli Roche, let's do a consultation. Click on the link in my bio. We can do a consultation. Okay, so Cornwall, British, after submission of our case, how long does it take to get a work permit? So it used to be, once upon a time, it was 3 months. Now it's looking about 4 to 6 months. But I will tell you that some of them are taking a really long time. I have a case in my office right now. We are fighting tooth and nail. We've done a congressional inquiry. It's been 10 months. He doesn't have his work permit. We're doing everything. It looks like the next step may have to be a lawsuit. I don't know if the client wants to pay. We can certainly file a lawsuit, but we don't know. It's taking such a long time. But I will tell you that that's an exception. Most of the cases in my office, anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Okay. All right. All right. So you guys are y'all are really up to date. We don't have any questions on Facebook as usual. They're always sleeping. All right. Let's see what's going on over here on TikTok. Okay. All right. So TikTok, thank you for tapping in. We're answering questions on talking about getting green cards for immigrants in good and bad marriages. That's what I do, y'all. All right. It looks like I need to put a trademark or something, a patent on that. All my intellectual property friends. Do I need to trademark that? I don't know. I get green cards for immigrants in good and bad marriages. On the topic of bad marriages, let me just talk a little bit about after getting your green card. I had a consultation yesterday, and the client currently has a 2-year green card. So he's married to his spouse. And the wife has been threatening him that he won't be able to get his 10-year green card without her. She is very abusive. She is cheating. It sounds like she may be cheating. Her children are very disrespectful. There's like a lot of emotional and psychological abuse and manipulation going on there. And I told him, I said, well, you know what? I said, you can get your 10-year green card without her. I said, there's something called removal of conditions with waiver. And so I'm going to talk briefly about that. So removal of conditions with waiver means if you're now you have your conditional green card, but now your spouse has become abusive, emotionally, psychologically, physically, mentally, you can remove the conditions on your green card. You don't even have to wait the 2 years or the year and 9 months. You do not have to wait. You can file immediately. Okay, we have a question on Facebook. Hi, Umwajaka Joshua. Let's see. His question is, I and my wife married in Nigeria. We have applied for spouse visa. She's in America while I'm in Nigeria. Sorry, y'all, I can't. My phone's blocking. I just got my work permit in Romania. Oh, yeah. Okay. Congratulations on being married. Congratulations on filing. Okay. I don't know where you got your work permit at. Romania. Okay. Romania? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Romania. Yeah. So I wouldn't expect that a work permit in Romania would affect your application in the US. I mean, if that's where you live and that's where you're working, that's where you live and that's where you're working. But then again, I don't know Romanian law, but I know US law, that shouldn't affect it. So hopefully your process goes really smoothly, and you're able to be reunited with your wife in the United States. So that's another element of the, green cards for immigrant spouses and good and bad marriages, when even after you're married, and sorry, even after you get that 2-year green card. And why do you get a 2-year green card? If your green card is issued the day they say you are a legal permanent resident, your marriage is not at your marriage is under 2 years, you get a conditional green card. Okay. And then you have to show USCIS immigration that your marriage is legit for the next 2 years, and then they remove the conditions. So typically you'll remove conditions. Hello, TikTok. You remove conditions together with your spouse. But if your spouse starts mistreating you, I've seen it all. I am one of my clients, trigger warning, her husband tried to drown her. The husband, she was pregnant, he kicked her in the stomach, she lost the baby. This was after the 2 years. And so when she found me, she just could not be there anymore. And so we filed for the removal of conditions. It was like 5 months into her 2-year green card, because you can do that. You can file before and you can file after. So we have some cases in the office right now where, oh, thanks for sharing the live. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. You guys, you should be tagging your friends. So we have some cases right now where the clients found me like 2 years after their conditional green card expired. And the reason why they couldn't remove conditions was because they were in this abusive relationship. So when you're removing based on extreme cruelty and a waiver, you can remove before or after. If it's a joint, a lot of times they want you removing the conditions right on time. And if you're not able to, you have to kind of explain why you were late. Because when you pass your 2-year time frame, you could be in removal proceedings. If you're put in removal proceedings, typically what happens is we can still file the 751 with USCIS, because they always have jurisdiction of the 751 removal of conditions, and then just tell the court, hey, we just ask that you admin close this real quick, or terminate for real, like just go ahead and terminate, because we have a 751 pending with USCIS. All right, y'all. Y'all got some questions? What are your questions? I know y'all have questions. Like, you wouldn't be on here if you didn't have questions. So let's just get to it. I'm here to answer your questions. Thank you for sharing the live on TikTok. Okay, we're up to six viewers on TikTok. Not bad. Good morning. You know, I used to do my lives. I have some Spanish speaking followers. Hola, bienvenido, buenos días, ¿cómo estás? Si estás aquí y tienes una pregunta, por favor, dame un mensaje y voy a contestar todas tus preguntas. Okay, that was for my Spanish speaking audience. Good morning. How long does the green card process take? The green card process depends. Right now, for example, VAWA case is 2 to 2.5 years. USCIS is really pushing to move their cases along much quicker and much faster. So hopefully, I think their goal is to process green cards in 6 months. Let me tell you something. I believe it when I see it. I don't believe them. They're very inefficient. They're incompetent. Yes, I said it. They are. I mean, the government, they are just, it sucks. And I can't stand it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you pay all this money. We pay our tax dollars. You pay all this money for these applications, and they waste your time, and they only move when you sue them. So it's hard to say. I would say don't bargain for anything less than, at least 2 years. But I will tell you this, though. We had a case out of Cleveland, Ohio, marriage green card case. We filed in January. We had our interview in March. Case was approved on the spot. That is not a reflection of what's really going on, but it happened. It's on my page. Green card, they got it in 3 months. So, unicorn, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but I will say that the USCIS and the government, they're under a lot of pressure to really move cases along. Like they have to, I think they have like 200,000 green cards that they have to issue by December. I don't know how that's going to happen. They were short-staffed, COVID, Trump, all the things. So that's why cases are taking forever. And I will say this, and I may be biased, but it's true. When you do not have a lawyer, chances are your case is just going to sit there. And that's just a fact. Okay? If you don't have an attorney, they don't care. All right. If you married outside the U.S., if you married outside U.S. to U.S. citizen, then it's in a marriage. Let me get if you married outside the U.S. to, okay, so you're it doesn't matter. So it doesn't really matter where you got married, to be honest. But the thing is, the abuse has to. If you're trying to like ask about VAWA, the abuse has to happen inside the United States. So if you're out of the United States and you married a U.S. citizen and they're mistreating you, they abandon you, your marriage is legit, but it has to happen unless they are in the military or they work for the U.S. government. Those are the only other two exceptions where if you're out of the United States with a U.S. citizen spouse, they abandon you, and maybe you may have a VAWA claim, but otherwise the abuse had to have happened in the United States. So unless your question is more like you married outside, but you're here. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, as a green card holder, how long can I stay abroad? Oh, so yeah, so to qualify for citizenship, at the time when you're applying, if you're applying based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, you have to show physical presence on U.S. soil for half of the 3 years, right? And you cannot be out of the United States for more than 6 months at a time. Otherwise, it's deemed like abandoning your residency. So if you're a green card, if you got a green card through a parent or a child or whatever, you need to show physical presence on U.S. soil for 2.5 years. And don't leave the United States for more than 6 months. Once you start leaving for 6 months to a year, then the burden is on you to show that you did not abandon your residency. A lot of times you can show that you're a registered voter, you had a home, you had a job, driver's license, things like that. But I always say, like, just don't. Just don't. You know what I'm saying? Just don't. Just wait till you get your citizenship, then you can do whatever you want. So, okay. You guys share the lives. So I don't think Instagram can share lives, but I know they're sharing over here on TikTok. Okay. They're sharing over here on TikTok, y'all. They're sharing on TikTok. Facebook also, y'all need to share this live because this is really important information that could help someone. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So as I always do towards the end of every live, who has an interview coming up, who has a request for evidence, who has a notice of intent to deny. Guys, let me tell you about a notice of intent to deny we just received. And I'll do it to be very clear. We did not file the initial case. We came in after the client had been waiting on her work permit for her VAWA for like 3 years. Okay. Oh, you can. Okay, I didn't know that. So you can share on Instagram. Okay, y'all, if you're on here, just share this live everywhere you can. So we had a client who came to us after another attorney had filed her VAWA. Nothing was happening. She'd been waiting for her work permit for like 3 years. We got on the case in October. She got her work permit, like I think like a couple months later. I looked through the case. We reviewed everything. When we got to the interview, some things came up that I had not been privy to. No one told me. So basically, there was some fraud and misrepresentation when this client entered the United States like 6 years ago. She entered with lied that she was married when she was not, because to get a visitor's visa, you have to show family ties. So she said that she was married to her husband in her home country, but she wasn't. And then after she entered, she said that the husband had died so she could marry another person here. But the dates did not match up at all. So when we got to the interview, she was questioned. And in addition to that, they had asked her if she had ever used any other names, and she said no. They asked her again, she said no. The officer whips out a fake green card. And I'm there like, wait, what's going on? Stop. Because I was on the phone with them. And I had to quick lawyering on my feet. I said, yep, fake green card, part of the abuse. Her ex-husband forced her to get that fake green card so she could work, so she could give him money. and the officer backed up. Anyway, fast forward, 2 months later now, they sent us a notice of intent to deny, and she needs a waiver. So I'm going to run through how waivers work with when you are a victim of domestic violence and you have a VAWA. So a lot of times when you qualify for a waiver, you need a qualifying relative. So like a spouse or a parent who's a U.S. citizen or green card holder. With VAWA, if you've had any issues, misrepresentation that would bar you from getting your green card, you don't need a qualifying relative. It can be you on your own or your child. So in this case, we're going to use her as the, the hardship she would suffer if she had to go back to her home country. We're also going to use her children who are U.S. citizens who've never lived in her home country, right? So we're going to say, first of all, if she were to be deported, who the hell's going to watch these 2 girls? And that's one. Secondly, if the children had to move back to her home country with her, they don't speak the language. They could possibly be subject to female genital mutilation, which is female circumcision. And these are U.S. citizen girls. So, we have something to work with. So luckily for her, I was there at the interview with her. I was able to think, well, I always think quick because, that's just kind of how I lawyer. But I was able to kind of get the officer to back up because he thought he had cornered her when he pulled out the green card. That was a fake green card that she had used to work. And I tied it quickly to the abuse because her husband kind of had that power and control over her. So that is that. So hopefully, that waiver is successful. I believe it will be, because we really put a solid application together. All right, lovely people. It's been 36 minutes and I need to log off and prepare for a consultation. I have at 11. If you guys have any other questions, DM me. I'll answer them on live. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on you're on Instagram. Go follow me on Facebook. And go on my YouTube. Y'all, I only have 9 subscribers. You guys. Okay, if at least the people on here watching this live, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I only have 9 subscribers on there. We're trying to get to like 1,000 by the end of the year. All right, y'all. I'm going to log off and I will see you guys on here tomorrow. Oh, no, not tomorrow. On Monday. Bye.